What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Today is Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. We got a lot to get into. A lot has happened since last night to today. We're going to get into a couple things. We're going to get into this hearing with Pete Hegseth. We're going to drop into what is going to happen with those individuals in those wildfires in California, and their mortgages, the insurance policies in California. We have some potential Chinese spy hacking situations going on, and then the upcoming inauguration information, as well as concerns over Biden's last-minute move with nicotine. Shout out to everybody watching. What is up, everybody in the comment section, in the chat, in the live chat. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. You guys get a round of applause. Kudos to you guys. Shout out to the moderators in the chat, some of the best moderators in the business. And if you are catching this on the replay, which you might be, I don't know. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section. You already know what to do. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Let me run through the chat. See who's in the chat. What's up, Stephanie? Gina in the house. Salty Army Captain. What is going on? Rob, Margie, Don. Hope everybody's doing amazing today. We've already got some crazy clips coming out of the of the Pete Hegseth fiery situation that's going on the Hill there. Let's jump into this clip right here. This is a comment regarding the discrimination that Pete Hegseth has been having regarding his Jerusalem cross on his chest. Let's jump into that. Let me make sure that I am good. Boom. Here we go. Cool.
You'd mentioned that you were not able to serve with your National Guard unit in the protection of the inauguration of Joe Biden because of a tattoo, a Christian tattoo. Can you elaborate just a little bit on what is this very offensive, extremist, racist tattoo that you have?
It's a tattoo I have right here, Senator. It's called the Jerusalem Cross. It's a historic Christian symbol. In fact, interestingly, recently I attended briefly the memorial ceremony of former President Jimmy Carter on the floor of our National Cathedral. On the front page of his program was the very same Jerusalem Cross. It is a Christian religious symbol. And when the events happened before preceding the Biden inauguration, I was a part of the mobilization to defend that inauguration as someone who'd been a proud supporter of Donald Trump, but also a member of the military, had orders to come to Washington, D.C. to guard that inauguration. And at the last minute, those orders were revoked. I'd never had orders revoked before. I'd been on orders to a lot of places to do a lot of difficult and dangerous things. They were revoked, and I was not told why. Later, when I wrote my book, I was able to get information. It was because I had been identified. Someone who'd served in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Guantanamo Bay, holding a riot shield outside the White House. I'd been identified as an extremist, as someone unworthy of guarding the inauguration of an incoming American president. And if that's happening to me, Senator, how many other men and women, how many other patriots, how many other people of conscience? We haven't even talked about COVID and the tens of thousands of service members who were kicked out because of an experimental vaccine. In President Trump's Defense Department, they will be apologized to, they will be reinstituted with pay and rank. Things like focusing on extremism, Senator, have created a climate inside our ranks that feel political when it hasn't ever been political.
Agreed. How many of you, what is up? We got a troll in the house. Love it. How many of you have either personally experienced or directly experienced through somebody like vicariously that was kicked out of the military because of the C-19 vaccine? Also, either whether that's a government job or whatever this, or your personal job. I know that I have personally had some associates that have lost their military retirement. They had to leave early because they were not willing to take the C-19 vaccine. Rob says, welcome, trolls. Welcome, trolls. We love the trolls. And it was interesting here. He goes, that same Jerusalem cross was on Jimmy Carter's program for his funeral. I got a hot one to jump into here right now. We all know Miss Indian Elizabeth Warren, the Navajo. Oh, man. Here she is. Listen to this crap.
But the question I have for you on this is, will you put your money where your mouth is and agree that when you leave this job, you will not work for the defense industry for 10 years?
Senator, it's not even a question I've thought about because
You can
it's
think
not
about it
one
right now.
It's not one, my motivation for this job
I understand
has never
that. I
been
just
about
need
what
a
could
yes or no
conceivably
here.
come next.
Time is short. I just need a yes or no.
I would consult with the president about what the policy should be
In
at the Defense
other
Department.
words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. But you're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
You'll be the one, let us just be clear, in charge of the generals. So you're saying, but the question I have.
It's funny. I'll probably have to do a full recap video of all these flubs and gaffes because they're attacking Pete Hegseth regarding his character and allegations of him being drunk on the job. Yet we see Anderson Cooper. We see individuals on other platforms. They're physically drinking on the job. Pete Hegseth actually was on a show or hosted a show that was it was a podcast. It was like Whiskey and War Room or something of that capacity. But these people are crazy. They're trying to attack him, and they don't even understand his character. Listen to this. What is this one? Oh, here it is, right here.
Hard work, Mr. Chairman. This has gone well. I'd like to submit this letter, topic Conduct at Vets for Freedom for Hegseth. I'd like to submit that for the record, please.
Without objection.
Mr. Hegseth, thanks for being here today and with your family. I know this is tough. That's what it's all about, though. You're a tough guy. Been here for a while. Never seen this many people that here for a support of a nominee. That's impressive. I met with a lot of them yesterday, and they are very passionate. So thank you for willing to take this on, and congratulations on your nomination.
The first time that I watched that, I got the chills because for him to say that, especially on the floor in that forum, when they knew that everything is against Mr. Hegseth, specifically on the Democrat Party, for him to say that is a powerful statement. That is a powerful statement, and that is advantageous to his particular character. Audrey says, no way Miss Elizabeth Warren is more than 6% Native. Elizabeth Warren hates strong men. Elizabeth Warren hates strong everybody. Oh, man. Rob says Elizabeth Warren is a very hateful person. Yeah, she reminds me of that scene with Sandra Bullock dancing around doing the Indian dance. Anyways, for him to say this, super powerful. I have to replay it. Sorry.
And with your family today. Thanks for being here today and with your family. I know this is tough. That's what it's all about, though. You're a tough guy. Been here for a while. Never seen this many people that here for a support of a nominee. That's impressive. I met with a lot of them yesterday.
Powerful stuff right there. Powerful stuff right there. Oh, this is more on the Jerusalem cross situation. Oh, here we go. This was an interesting situation. He speaks about the 4-star generals.
Bloating. What are you going to do about that?
Senator, we're going to address that. We won World War II with 7 4-star generals. Today we have 44 4-star generals. There's an inverse relationship between the size of staffs and victory on the battlefield. We don't need more bureaucracy at the top. We need more warfighters empowered at the bottom. So it's going to be my job working with those that we hire and those inside the administration to identify those places where fat can be cut so it can go toward lethality.
Thank you, sir.
Bloating. What?
This administration is going to shake stuff up. It is absolutely going to shake things up. He addresses it right here, the ridiculous amount of bloating that's happening in some of these areas where taxpayers are paying for this and we're not getting what we need, and it's being addressed. It is being addressed. This administration is going to shake everything up. Michelle Murphy says Pete Hegseth rocks. Saw him on the Sean Ryan show. We need him to clean up the garbage. The garbage. Absolute garbage. Loving your show today, Rebecca. Shout out. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Ooh, this is a good one. Remember, no matter how much you hate the left, it pales in comparison to how much the left hates you. Whew. Whew. That's true. And we see that. We see that happening right now with these wildfires. I don't even want to call them wildfires because there have been a lot of information popping out that these wildfires aren't necessarily as wild as people thought, because people, arsonists, are presumably, I got to say that for the YouTubes, because the YouTubes, they be doing some stuff. Presumably arsonists are doing the things. Oh, and by the way, I've been getting a lot of feedback regarding subscribers. It's been interesting. It's not only my channel, but it's a lot of other channels too. The platform has been unsubscribing individuals to the channel. So just make sure that you are subscribed and turn on your notifications. Anyways, that's my little PSA. All right. Now we have to jump into what Speaker Mike Johnson had to say regarding any aid to California. After this video, we're going to jump into what Kevin O'Leary, I personally like Kevin O'Leary, had to say about this. Here's Mike Johnson, excuse me, about this while he was walking to a meeting yesterday.
Are you open to providing aid to California without any conditions at all?
I think we've got to have a serious conversation about that. Obviously, there's been water resource mismanagement, forest management mistakes, all sorts of problems. And it does come down to leadership, and it appears to us that state and local leaders were derelict in their duty in many respects. So that's something that has to be factored in. I think there should probably be conditions on that aid. That's my personal view. We'll see what the consensus is. I haven't had a chance to socialize that with any of the members over the weekend because we've all been very busy, but it'll be part of the discussion for sure.
What about the debt limit increase? What about?
So what he's saying there, if you guys didn't catch it, is, hey, we definitely have to look at all of the circumstances that happen in California. The water mismanagement, everything, before any continuous aid happens. Biden, the generous fellow that he is, last night, graciously, Biden, the big giver, okay, he said, the people of California, you get a one-time payment, not $700, not $750. You get a one-time payment of $770. What a bunch of garbage. Biden, the big giver, guys, the big giver. Kevin O'Leary actually backs what Mike Johnson had to say.
Seconds. And Bass, I think every taxpayer in America, including those in California, would like to tie this aid to removing Newsom and Bass. Now, gone. Part of the deal would be, and I know Trump likes new ideas, here's one, not a dime until those two are whacked from their jobs immediately. They are so incompetent, and all of the decisions they've made led to this, and they're still making mistakes. They're horrific managers. Whack them.
Give me 30 seconds.
Crazy.
And Bass, I think every taxpayer in America, including those in California, would like to tie this aid to removing Newsom and Bass. Now, gone. Part of the...
Now, gone. Boom. Before they receive any aid. Thomas says California has water. It's just that Newsom and the Dems don't know what to do with it. I did a deep dive on who owns those water rights. Some of you guys had mentioned it. I did a brief dive on it before regarding who owns some of those private sector waters, predominantly owned by a company that owns Fiji and pistachios. And yeah, there have been a lot of claims coming out of California regarding arsonists dumping gasoline into the sewers, and lighting fires throughout the city. And I wasn't aware of this until a couple days ago, but there are quote unquote celebrity tunnels. I don't have a verified source on this or a particular video on this, but there are quote unquote celebrity tunnels underneath LA. So these people can, bypass traffic, so they don't have to be stuck in traffic, so on and so forth. But it's interesting because the whole PDF ring is based in California, right? Based in LA. Based in LA. Rob says, I like to feed the smelt to bass. Oh, man. Tim Dillon had something. Tim Dillon's a comedian. He had something hilarious to say because if you're going to have some type of sleeper cell kind of in the city of LA, he says something very funny. Check this out.
By the way, if you were a terrorist group, maybe being funded by a foreign country or not, wouldn't you disguise cells as homeless people? Because in LA, there are so many homeless people. If you wanted to blend in LA, you'd just be homeless. So if I'm a foreign country and I'm talking to my terrorist cells and I go, guys, in order to blend into this society, you must shit on the street and be homeless, and they're going to go, wait a minute, isn't that a tell? Won't we get arrested immediately? Won't that give us away? I go, no. You're the safest people in the town. Sleep on someone's lawn, piss on yourself, shit on the street. No one will even say anything. You will not be stopped by the police. In fact, if people call the police and say, a man is shitting on my lawn, the police hang up the phone. They don't care. There's nothing for them to do. So if you're going to assimilate into Los Angeles society, you must be homeless. So I can't quite say if this is an organized terrorist attack. By the way, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. This is our one weakness. No one would even say anything about a homeless guy with a gas can. These dumb cunts in the Palisades, if they saw a homeless man with a gas can, they'd go, he's just having some fun. He's probably trying to warm himself up.
He's not lying. He's not lying. And you know what's crazy? Another thing that's absolutely crazy is celebrities or people that move to LA, hipsters, they all, you don't know if you're a hipster or if they're homeless. Hipster or homeless, you don't know. Because they wear the same clothes. And he said, he hit the nail on the head here. If anybody's going to do a sleeper cell scenario, presumably, just look like you're homeless. The individual, Jose Aguilar, was arrested for arson in LA for lighting multiple fires. The only arrest that I have seen thus far. If you guys seen some other arrests, let me know in the chat. But this is, it's true. You just dress like a homeless, nobody's going to say nothing. You can steal up to $1,000. You can walk into an Apple store, just take anything you want under $1,000. It's not going to be much at an Apple store, so that was a bad analogy. But you can walk in to any store under $1,000. You can break a window on a vehicle, nothing. Cool, all good, all good. William said he's not lying. He's not lying. Rudy says, great show. Thank you. You are welcome. You are welcome. That is a very scary thought, and honestly, to blend in LA. Yeah. It's like The Walking Dead out there right now. Literally. I saw images of the Palisades. It is like the apocalypse. The apocalypse happened in the Palisades in Malibu. And then now, you know, all the freakers or the zombies, if you would, are going to migrate back into those areas. Beachfront property. Who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop them? Gina says, I never thought of that. Thomas says, that's because cops don't want to collect evidence. Yeah. Rob says, the homeless thing is a perfect disguise for terrorists. It really is. It really is. You know, even migrants coming over. You just like a homeless person. You're good. You're good. Anyways, so I'm going to jump into this. So insurance experts have warned the ripple effects of these wildfires in California. Then we're going to get into a topic that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. What's going on with the mortgages? Because a lot of these people had mortgages on their home.
Well, as we continue to cover the tragedy in Southern California, another crisis is underway, an insurance crisis, and it's one of California's own making. In 1988, California voters passed Proposition 103, a textbook example of the left-wing love affair with government price controls and heavy regulation. Under Prop 103, insurance companies have to get government approval before raising rates. The red tape hasn't allowed insurance prices to keep up with insurance losses, and over time, that imbalance causes the entire system to collapse. As you can see here, major players like State Farm and Allstate have pulled back on writing insurance, leaving thousands of homeowners scrambling for alternatives. That's where California's state-run insurer of last resort, the FAIR Plan, comes in. But here's the problem. The FAIR Plan is woefully underfunded. It has about $700 million in reserves, but the Pacific Palisades fire alone represents a $6 billion liability. The math just isn't adding up. And California homeowners and taxpayers, as a result, may be on the hook. Well, joining us now is Kea Stanley, CRMBC CEO and insurance industry expert. Kea, we're glad to have you with us today. Help us understand what's happening with insurance in California and why it's really important for other states to pay attention to what's happening here.
It's important because it's going to ripple outside of California and affect every state. So as you pointed out, one of the reasons, there's many reasons why the insurers pulled out, but one of them was because of regulatory requirements. Reinsurance went up, inflation, caused increases in pricing. There was a lot of factors. And then when insurance companies can't be profitable and they can't raise their rates because of regulatory requirements, they are going to leave. And so that's what we
They're going to leave, right? Because of that proposition, they wanted to raise the insurance premiums for their home for fire damage on homes. And in regards of a metric, this started happening about a year ago. These companies started pulling out, and these negotiations started to happen in California.
We saw here, and they only left the high risk areas. So a lot of these companies still write insurance in other parts of California and other lines of insurance. So they might have just pulled out of homes, but in businesses, but they still write auto, for example.
Crazy to me, because a lot of those folks don't have good quality homeowners insurance for these fire damages, or their premiums are crazy high. They're not going to be able to rebuild. Thomas says the guy with the butane torch told cops it was to light his cigarette. Exactly, right? They caught this guy, and then there's been footage all across the intrawebs, all across the internet about people lighting fires in dumpsters, people lighting fires in people's front yards with palm trees and all this other stuff. Hotshot 420 said some of these people do look like zombies on that fentanyl. Yep, they do. They do. I see it here. I see it here in Vegas too. Just in case, I caught the live. No notification though. What is up, Justin? Hope you're doing amazing. Gavin Newscomb, has time to go on these podcasts and talk about his vision for reimagining LA 2.0. And it seems like this is a unfortunate opportunity for him to do that. The FAIR Plan is funded by insurance companies and currently insures approximately 410,000 individuals, the last resort for those who were denied fire coverage in those policies. I wonder what the premium is on that. That is crazy. And I wonder what the FAIR Plan funds. Tom will know. Stephanie says, they have that in mind. They have that in my area for flood because wow, I can't read today. We are on the water and some of the areas below sea level with hurricanes all time. Yep. Just in case says you will own nothing and be happy. This was on the map for a few minute communities. This was an interesting clip regarding what happens, right? These individuals still have to make these mortgage payments.
All right, welcome back. David Lazarus joining us now.
Laz, you have been getting a ton of questions from people who lost their homes about what happens with their mortgages and their taxes. And are they still on the hook for all that?
Yeah, and there's a lot of moving parts to this. It is, of course, a very fluid story. Let's get back to the mortgages in just a moment. First, let's talk about what's going to happen to property taxes if your home is significantly damaged or destroyed. I spoke earlier with LA County Tax Assessor Jeff Prang. Here's what he said.
We're going to reduce your assessment and your property taxes for damaged or destroyed property. There is a program, it is called Misfortune and Calamity, that requires me to reduce the assessed value of your property to reflect the damage or the destruction. If your home was completely burned to the ground, we're going to value the home at zero.
Now, when Assessor Prang is talking about property in this case, he's talking about the structure, your home, your garage, any other outlying structures that are there. He's not talking about the underlying land underneath. What happens with that?
Unfortunately, this reduction doesn't apply to the land, but it will affect your property. We're going to be doing this proactively, but I also want to encourage everybody to file the Misfortune and Calamity form online.
This is a very tricky business because the assessor told me that his office has looked at the assessed values on an average basis in the fire hit areas, and it turns out roughly 2/3 of the assessed value of these properties is the land. and not the structure, which means all of those properties in the Pacific Palisades, for example, or Malibu, they're still going to be taxed at a very, very high level. And let's take a look at Prop 13. Let's say you've been in your house for decades and you've enjoyed decades of Prop 13 protections when it comes to your property taxes. If your house is destroyed, if you rebuild, do you still get the Prop 13 protections? Here's what Prang said.
You will still have your your pre-damage Prop 13 protection. So your tax base will be restored to what it was before the fire, and you can build up to 120% of what was there before without reassessment.
That's a very interesting thing, because what he's saying is if you rebuild to 100% of what you had before, in other words, pretty much the same house, your property tax doesn't change. But also you can do 20% more in the form of upgrades, let's say some wood floors or something like that. So as long as you don't go over 20% beyond the previous assessed value, you're good, and your property taxes aren't going to change. If you go above that 120% threshold, you're not really going to be in totally hot water, but those extra overages that we're talking about, those will add to your tax burden, but won't take it into an entirely market-based area. And now let's talk about mortgages. A number of viewers have been asking me, do I still have to pay my mortgage if my house burns down? And I got bad news for you.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
A deal is a deal. Think of it like this.
It's crazy. Okay, those individuals still have to pay those mortgages, and they also have to pay for the remediation of their home, the bulldozers, the garbage bins or dumpsters. They're still on hook for the mortgages. Crazy, right? That's just what it is, right? They signed some debt, and that's just what it is. They might be able to get some type of relief or forbearance. There is still a C-19 forbearance going on right now. And if it's a government-backed mortgage, you can request 12 months of deferred payments. But this is going to be devastating for a lot of folks. A lot of folks. Some of them won't even be able to clear their lot. Gavin Newsom always seems to be too happy with the whole scenario. Every time I see him, he is smug. He is swaying back and forth. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna re-envision California 2.0." But the land is what's valuable. Yep, especially if they rezone it. Especially if they rezone it. Guess who's going to rebuild those homes? Yep. They might even eminent domain some of those areas, because it's going to take 3 to 5 years to build something again. You know who's going to make a lot of money off of this are those junk removal companies that are going to help remove some of the debris on the lot, and then fencing companies to fence out the property itself. It's crazy. Let's be honest. Newsom has always been wanting a West Coast NYC. He's probably already got plans and blueprints for his dream, hence not cleaning up the underbrush. Yep. And why would he talk to that individual in Maui and ask them and have a conversation about speculators coming in, builders, developers coming in? Why would he even have that conversation? Audrey said, Gavin Newsom, American Psycho 2.0. Yep. All right. So they are still on the hook for the mortgages, those of you that don't know. They still got to pay their taxes. They might be able to defer a couple. I don't know the laws and regulations regarding tax payments in California. But, yeah, and they got to pay for their own cleanup initially. Anyways. All right. We got John Fetterman. John Fetterman. Lately, I've been a fan of Mr. Fetterman. He just shows up how he is. He says it like he is. It doesn't seem like he's part of the Democrat Party, but yet he's just a party of, or just a person of common sense. He doesn't wear suits. I like the vibe. You know, he doesn't care what people think. He wears shorts, white socks, sneakers, and a hoodie all the time. Hardly ever see that guy in a suit. All good, though. I like it. He recently met with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and here is straight arrow news on that.
Fascinating person, and said he was impressed with the Pennsylvania senator. Trump saying it was a totally fascinating meeting. He's a fascinating man, and his wife is lovely. They were both up, and I couldn't be more impressed. He's a common sense person. He's not liberal or conservative. He's just a common sense person, which is beautiful. Trump says he met with Fetterman and his wife for an hour, discussing a range of topics from U.S. steel production, which is a major industry in Pennsylvania, to support for Israel in the Israel-Hamas war, border security, and so-called geopolitical benefits of Trump's attempts to acquire Greenland. Before Fetterman flew to Florida for his meeting with the president-elect, he joked to reporters who asked why he agreed to meet with Trump, saying that it was so he could be Pope of Greenland. Fetterman later said in a statement, President Trump invited me to meet and I accepted. I'm the senator for all Pennsylvanians, not just Democrats in Pennsylvania. I've been clear that no one is my gatekeeper. I will meet with and have a conversation with anyone if it helps me deliver for Pennsylvania and the nation.
Boom. That's how it should be. That is how it should be. I like the guy. I like him. He was getting a lot of slack from MSDNC, CNN saying, "Oh, he's kissing the ring of Donald Trump." No, he just wants to see what's going on. Everybody should meet with him. Like, hey, we got to figure out what the heck is going on, how to fix things. Do you guys like John Fetterman? My senator. His parents were conservative. Tom, with the information regarding the Fair Plan situation, the average premiums for coverage through the Fair Plan is approximately $32,000 annually. Whew. Jeez. But considering the value of the homes, right? Considering the value of the homes. Rena says, there's nothing but a land grab, just like Lahaina. Yep. Mm-hmm. He's coming around, that Fetterman. Oh, meanwhile, I had reported this a few weeks ago regarding Chinese hackers hacking into the Pentagon. And a new situation has just arisen with the Chinese hacking into more than just the Pentagon.
Details about how the communist Chinese, through a group of cyber hackers, have penetrated deeply into critical American infrastructure, from our water systems to sensitive government communications to our electrical grid, and yeah, even our military. We're talking incursions that are far more extensive than previously thought. Now, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that these aggressive moves by China cyber thugs started as early as 2019. Investigators found the hackers lurked sometimes for years, periodically testing access at a regional airport. Investigators found the hackers had secured access and then returned every 6 months to make sure they could still get in. Oh, good. Hackers spent at least 9 months in the network of a water treatment system, moving into an adjacent server to study the operations of the plant. At a utility in LA, the hackers searched for material about how the utility would respond in the event of an emergency.
Yep, I had reported on this like a couple weeks ago regarding that situation, and a recent announcement a public service announcement has come up. Shout out to Stephanie for sending this yesterday. FBI and DHS issue an alert about potential copycat attacks following the New Year's Day vehicle assault on New Orleans. Officials warned attackers may combine vehicle ramming and IEDs in target festivals, commercial centers, and crowded venues. This is why we've been seeing recent reports come out. For January 20th, law enforcement notes that previous ISIS-inspired attacks have been issued or have used rental and stolen vehicles, often adding firearms and knives for maximum damage and impact. The public service announcement was sourced by the FBI and DHS. This public service announcement was noted on January 13th. So, guys, just keep your heads on a swivel. Be safe. If you're heading to the inauguration or if you're heading anywhere, just be safe. I'll have to do a full separate video on that because there's a lot more in depth to that situation. But yeah, just keep your head on the swivel. We got this situation with the announcement of the FBI talking about potential copycat attacks. We have the cyber attack from China that hacked into the Pentagon. We got a lot of things going on. A lot of stuff needs to be cleaned up. And yeah, anyways. So I'm going to do I'll probably do a full video on this breakdown potential cyber attack because I want to blend it with another individual. If you guys are, I think his name is Brandon Briggs. He was the one who had these like visions of Donald Trump during the Butler scenario, and then seen these visions of the situation in New Orleans. Yeah, they said that Trump's garbage truck is going to be at the inauguration. Yeah. Yep. And meanwhile, one of Biden's last minute, again, another last minute situation for Biden,
and has been working to effectively ban cigarettes in what's been called a gift to organized crime cartels. The move will, in essence, ban cigarettes that are currently on the market in favor of products with lower nicotine levels, which one expert told Fox News could boost the black market.
absolutely. So
Kel, I just think, look, I'm not a smoker, and I think that there should be a lot less smoking, whether it means that people turn to vapes, which is what's happening in Australia, or to the underground market is another question. But I don't have a huge problem with things there being further government intervention when it comes to a filthy habit like smoking.
Yeah, look, there's actually no easy answer.
So Biden's looking to ban cigarettes, which kind of opens up the door to these drug cartels to smuggle in cigarettes. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out, right? Like if you ban something, we saw what happened during Prohibition. If you ban alcohol, the stuff's just going to flood in. And the cartel has done a very good job at smuggling things in, whether that's massive amounts of drugs or people across the border. So I highly doubt that they're going to have any difficulty smuggling tobacco across the border. But just kind of the last ditch efforts from the Biden administration. So Rob said, I've been trying to quit for the last month. Man, it's tough. Yeah, I've never personally smoked cigarettes. I've never been a heavy like smoker in that space with cigarettes. But yeah, I know it can be. I know it can be difficult. I don't know if you switch to nicotine pouches or whatever, Rob, but maybe that might be a good bridge gap there. Slight plug, I think. Slight plug to Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson just launched a nicotine pouch. It's called Alps. But yeah. So, anyways, Gina says, I love cigarettes and I want to quit one day, but I will do that when I feel like it. Yep. Yeah, this is just another thing, right? They ban perks and oxys. Then comes fentanyl. Yep. Mm-hmm. Biden to ban cigarettes. That's not going to work well. Yeah, it's just going to flood things more across the border, right? They'll figure out, dude, honestly, if they can figure out how to smuggle people in massive amounts of fentanyl across the border, I'm sure it's going to be an easy fix for them for these drug cartels to push over cigarettes. Yeah, Gina says, I feel like Tyson is a stoner. No, actually, stone sober since December 3rd, 2023. So I used to smoke cannabis. I used to smoke cannabis in the evening, and then I paint too. So, but I used to paint. I haven't painted in a long time. But yeah, cannabis was I enjoyed it. But as of December 3rd, 2023, I'd stopped everything, and I only drink coffee and sometimes these nicotine pouches. But coffee is a drug too. But and I never really got into vapes either. Vapes aren't my thing either. Audrey says, when I was growing up, so the reason why I never got into cigarettes is because growing up when I was little, my family used to smoke in the house up until I was 4 or 5 years old, and it just grossed me out. When I was growing up, I summered at my grandmother's house in Southern Maryland. It was tobacco fields, miles and miles. Yep. Yeah, Scott says nicotine junkies will not stand for that. Yeah, absolutely. My mind said I smoke weed every day. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, the growing up, it was nasty. Nicotine everywhere. It's gross. Just not my thing. You do you, whatever. But Jenny says vaping is so hard to quit. Think about getting those zero nic vapes, but they're kind of expensive. Yeah. I heard nicotines. I have a couple buddies that are hooked on the nicotine or the vapes, excuse me. And they're on them. They're on them all the time. I just personally can't. Yeah, just my thing. But I know it can be hard. I know it can be hard to get off those things. Stephanie says, I used to like clove cigarettes. I don't know how we got on this topic of smoking cigarettes. All you guys are dropping cigarette comments. Gina says, I've been smoking weed the whole stream. Yeah. If a couple years ago, you would have caught me too. But I actually enjoy being sober. It's been really cool. It's been really good. It's been a new kind of evolution of rediscovery for me. I like it. Anyways, I want to give a huge shout out to the moderators in the chat. Shout out to the moderators in the chat. And then also, I want to give a huge shout out to everybody that is in the chat right now. You guys are super awesome. We have some of the best moderators in the business, and we have an awesome chat. I love doing these lives because these chats are amazing. You guys are freaking awesome. I love the trolls too. The trolls can stay because we like the trolls too, Anyways, I'll be back later on today. I'm going to do a deep dive on this cyber situation, but huge shout out to the community. Stephanie says, huge shout out to the community. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. And then let me know what you think. I'll probably have to do another video about Pete Hegseth situation, which I'll jump on after this. But let me know what you think about Pete Hegseth, California wildfires, mortgage, people still paying mortgages, all on and so on and so on and so forth. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you guys so much. We'll chat soon.